Hello everybody, this is Cool Silver Wolf, back with you again. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about the Model Y. Now, the Model Y was just announced this week. It was pretty awesome to see. It's out on YouTube if you want to go out and watch it. It's an awesome live stream. It also goes over the history of Tesla, the past cars, and what the new Model Y is going to look like. But I want to go over a few things with you. So, being that this is a Model 3, the Model Y is going to be similar to the Model 3 in a lot of ways. So I just want to go through and show off a few things about what would be different between the Model 3, which is Midnight Glitch, my car, and the Model Y. First off, the Model Y is going to be based off a lot of the Model 3. A lot of the interior is going to be the same. You'll have the same console, the same dash, the same screen and controls, same steering wheel. Everything basically from the front driver's and passenger side will be the same. A lot of the middle row or the back row in the Model 3 should be the same style seating. However, there's slight difference there. As well as the Y will have a back row option if you decided to go with that. Now I'll show you that here. Now, as you can see here with the Model 3, you have a lot of the same design as what you will have with the Model Y. Now, I did a little bit of customization on mine with the steering wheel and the center console here, but it's going to be similar. So I have the white and black interior. Now, with the Model Y, the things will be the same. Again, will be this center display. This center display will show everything as far as your speed, the status of the car, and anything else like your navigation, your media that you would happen to have. Now, you'll also have the same style steering and controls. You'll have two stops on either side, one for your turn signal and your gear selection, as well as wiper and your autopilot if you choose to get the option. Now, the two scroll wheels push in so you can start and stop your music as needed, as well as voice control. The center console here is pretty big. You'll have the same top cover. You'll have the same center divider, as well as if you go with the premium option or the premium plus, you'll have the covers and the smartphone docking. Otherwise, where the two white covers are now, just under the screen, you would have an open layout or bin that you can do whatever you want with as far as the console. Moving towards the back, you have your air vents and two USB ports that are part of the premium option as well. You do have seats with seat pockets. Now, with the seats themselves, the driver's and passenger seats are the ultra white seats for my interior. You can get the black interior, which are all black, and with the base or standard option, you can get cloth seats, which will be just as easily maintained as these seats here. My car is about 6 months old, and with these ultra white seats, they still pretty much look brand new. I don't have any kind of issues with those. So that is an option that you'll be able to pick. Now, as I mentioned before, this is the back seat of the Model 3. Now, the Model Y will differ in this just slightly. You'll still have basically a 3-seater option, or 3 seats. The middle seat is probably going to be better for smaller individuals, but at least 2 full-size adults, maybe 3, it might be a little uncomfortable. But it'll be the same style seating. The headrests on all the seats do not move on the Model 3, except for that center one here, which does have a cup holder. Now this is the view with the cup holder down, as well as the center headrest moved up slightly. There are a couple positions for that as well, and that actually can completely slide out. But those are the back seats. Now, along with the Model Y, a difference that they've made is these seats do fold down, and the Model Y seats will fold down as well, except that these will be a complete split as far as 3 separate sections. With the Model 3, the seats are in a 60-40 combination, so you have a larger 60% of the seat and then a smaller 40%, and both sides will fold down. It's basically going to be split basically in thirds, so or should I say a little bit less for the middle seat, but you'll have basically a 40-40-20 setup as far as the rear seat and the Y. Now, another big difference with the Y is the ceiling. This center crossbeam is actually pushed back to where the metal seats are, or will be, in the Y. The back seat in the 3 does not have that, so you'll have a continuous piece of glass up until that point. Also, you won't have this back shelf that goes up to the back window. That is all open space as far as the Y. One thing I haven't seen other people address as far as this top shelf on the Model 3 versus the Y is you actually have car seat tie downs. If I zoom in here and take a look, there's actual tie downs along the top of this shelf that's braced by the part of the structure of the car for any kind of car seats. So if you're looking to get a Y, I'm not sure where the mount points will be, but if you have a car seat that requires a top mount point for it to be strapped in, that's something that may only be for the 2 seats on either side. So as far as the 3, it has a center mount point, so you can have an option for 3 car seats in the back, versus the Y, which may only have 2 options. There may also be an option for the back row, but I very well doubt it. But this is something that may be important to you if you're looking at a 3 versus a Y and you have a family. This mount point with kids and car seats may be really important to take a look at. Now this is a different view with the seats folded flat, folded down on the Model 3. Now the seats will fold down, like I said, in the Y. You will not get this top shelf in the Y. That will be wide open space. And if you look back through the trunk, this middle section there will basically be the 3rd row as you would see in the Model Y. This section here in the Model Y would basically flip up. That's where you'll have your 7-seater. And then the rest will be your typical space. Now if you take a look at the Model Y on the website, from the picture that they have from the rear, this is basically what you'll see. It's basically the same as the 3, except that you'll have an option for a middle row, which I mentioned would be right there behind the other seats that are folded down. But you'll have all this storage space, that you have in the 3. The only additional space is you won't have this shelf here that goes up. That will basically be wide open because it's a hatch design on the Y versus the 3, which is a basic trunk. So this is the basic trunk design on the Model 3. The Model Y will be a hatch, so the rear glass or the rear windshield will be attached to the same point, and where the hinges stop, it will basically bend at the same place, but that will be wide open for you to put much more things within the Y than what you can with the 3. It's not as restrictive. Now, as I mentioned on the website, this is the Model 3. They do have a section for the Model Y now. Going through a few things on the website, they do list the 66 cubic foot of cargo space as one of the main selling points. Also, with the long-range battery, you can, in some options, particularly the long-range single motor option, get 300 miles of range. Now, this is a larger vehicle, so it's going to use a little bit more power than the 3 to be able to get up the road, but that's what you would get for the extra cargo space. Alright, so let's go through our options so far here. This is the Model Y configurator. Basically, with the base model, it's not listed yet. That won't be until 2021 as far as the standard range. But they will have the long range versions out first in 2020, so next year, probably early in the year, they'll be able to start delivering those to people. But you can order now, and with any of the orders, it's a $2,500 deposit, but that is fully refundable, which is different than what they've done in the past. In the past, they've done only a $1,000 reservation, which was also refundable, but it was an actual order. So you can actually pick out and order your entire car and put your deposit down for it a year in advance. But if you decide to cancel, you can and get that $2,500 back. With the long-range battery, you have 3 different options for the Y. You have the long range with the rear-wheel drive, single motor. You have the dual motor, which is all-wheel drive, and there's 2 variants with that. There's the standard long range, and then there's the performance, and there's a couple different options with the performance that you don't get with the other 2. So with the long range rear-wheel drive model, that's where you're going to get the most amount of mileage. So 300 miles, 130 miles per hour top speed, and 5.5 0 to 60, which is really nice. Even if you're not looking for speed or that kind of acceleration, it's actually very nice to have with any electric vehicle. Drop down about 20 miles as far as range. You get about 5 miles per hour top speed additional, and it's a little bit quicker, 0 to 60. Now with the performance, you're looking at same specs as far as the long range, except that the top speed and the 0 to 60 are even more so, because they're able to dump a lot of more power out of the battery with the performance upgrades than what they have with the standard long range. If you happen to place an order, you're only placing a deposit, so if they make changes, you may just end up getting the better pricing. So let's go through a couple of the other options real quick. So the paint options are going to be the same. You have solid black, the midnight silver metallic that I have on mine, blue, white, and red. There are different pricing for that. You can pick different wheels except for the performance. I have the performance selected. You can only get the 20-inch wheels because they have performance brakes, and they need to have the larger size tires. There's no other option for the performance. If we go to the other two long-range options, there are the 18 Aero wheels that I have. Those covers do come off, and that I haven't shown too much, but I have that off on mine. Now, you do get a 2 to 4% performance boost when you have the covers on. I haven't had a need to really care about it too much, but for long trips, it's definitely a helpful thing at highway speed. So those are the 18-inch Aeros. You can also get 19-inch sport tires on the car, which are additional price as well. Again, back to the interior. It looks exactly like the 3 on the front. Basically, everything that you see here is going to be the same. Now, with the black interior, you do have the wood grain on the dash behind the wheel and the screen. This will be the white interior. Notice the center console is all black. Mine has been customized with some wraps, as well as the steering wheel is all black. So that it will be different from a Model Y or Model 3 that you happen to buy versus mine, because I customized mine. Now, again, they're offering two options, a 5-seat option and a 7-seat option, which will not be out until a year after they have the Model Y going out to people, so 2021. Unfortunately, with the configurator here, they don't have a good picture of the 7-seat configuration. You can see that back on the main page. Now, the only option as well is the premium interior. There is no standard or base interior so far. So if you're looking for the cloth seats, because for some reason you don't like the leather seats, that is not going to be an option until that standard range comes out in 2021. So if you're looking for one of the cheaper models, you're going to have to wait, because they won't have it out yet. Now again, they did make some changes for the autopilot. The autopilot package only includes the auto steer and the traffic aware cruise control now. Those are the only two options for $3,000. If you add that on, it's an additional $1,000 if you do that after you buy the car and pick it up. So a lot of people happen to choose that and add it into the loan, so they can basically roll that price all together into the price of the car, and they won't have to worry about it. They factor all that cost in. Now, upcoming, they are making some more features available for the full self-driving package. Some of these features were already available in the old enhanced autopilot, which is no longer available. They have moved that all to self-driving capability. So the Navigate on Autopilot, which is basically the on to off ramp navigation, it will take exit ramps or merge in the on to on ramps. It'll also be able to suggest lane changes for you. You'll also get the auto park, which will do both parallel and perpendicular spaces, which is nice to have once in a while. I don't use it that often, but it is very nice to have, especially if you just aren't so sure you want the car to do it for you. The auto park is a nice feature. Also, Summon, that is recently being tested and updated. Currently, Summon can only go forward or backward, but they're expecting for the Smart Summon to basically come and find you within a parking lot It'll basically use all the cameras and the sensors to be able to go through a parking lot, even make small adjustments or corners to be able to get to you wherever you are with the phone and the phone app. Now they're going to be adding some other the full self-driving features they haven't gotten to yet, and that's going to be to recognize traffic lights and stop signs, as well as automatic driving on city streets, which in the past autopilot has not been fully enabled for. It will do it on some streets, but as far as any kind of lane changes or intersections, that has not been able to work. And even with this, its full self-driving capability is basically the car is going to do it for you, but you have to pay attention and take over if for some reason it doesn't operate the way it's supposed to. It's a driver assistance feature. It isn't autonomy. The car is not going to do everything 100% by itself. That's something you're going to have to handle and manage as you use the feature. Now with that full self-driving capability, that is going to be another $5,000. You have to have the autopilot. So basically, if you want both, it's $8,000. And same with the autopilot. If you add that on later, it is an additional cost. Now again, that is the Model Y versus the Model 3. I do highly recommend getting a 3 or a Model Y. I also do recommend the S or the X if you decide. Those do have some different options. The X is a very nice utility vehicle. I love the Falcon Wing doors. The Model S is again a larger car, so it's a little bit more roomy and a little bit more premium even on top of the 3. But those are all good options from Tesla. Now there are other EVs out there. I do recommend any option as far as an EV. Now I do recommend going through and taking a good look at the battery size and the range that you're going to be getting with any electric vehicle, because in winter months that's going to be reduced, as well as any kind of strong wind or rain. You're going to get a little bit of reduction in your overall range. Now with an electric vehicle, it really depends on how you drive as far as whether or not you're going to get that rated range or not. You can actually do a little bit better, especially with regenerative braking. But if you're hard on the accelerator a lot, if you drive it like you stole it, your foot is constantly, lead foot on the floor with the pedal, you're going to get a lot less range. And that's just a matter of having fun with the car. I do have a lot more fun with the car with this Model 3. I don't care about the range as much as, I could. If I was going on a long trip, I would definitely want to save as much power as possible. But it's always nice to actually just drive and not have to worry. So having a large battery and a large range is something I would definitely look into when buying an EV. Other than that, if you have any other questions as far as any EVs, what to look for is the range, any kind of options, leave a comment. I'll be happy to try to answer them for you, or be able to even link you to another person that might be able to explain it a little bit better. But this is a comparison with the Model 3 and the Model Y. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like. Please subscribe so you can see more of these videos. I love to be able to do more for you and share everything about Tesla, the Model 3, and as we get more information about the Y, as those come out within the next year, hopefully I'll know somebody that will be able to display that, and we'll be able to have that as well. So until then, thank you very much, and have a very good rest of the day.